My dad was a musician, so I used to be round helping him to collect his equipment and stuff. I would turn up with him the following day and there'd be a kit there or some guitars or an organ or piano. And I would just, tinker about a little bit. And then what happened was I got home and I was watching the Old Grey Whistle Test. The Damned were on it, and they were a band that had just recently got hold of, their latest record and stuff like that. So they were new find for me. What struck me was the band didn't even get through the 2 songs they were playing. They were smashing their equipment up before they'd finished the second song. And all of it made a big impression on me. It was that moment, I just remember at that moment being like, that's it, I'm going to be a drummer. The transition is very long. For instance, like the first time I played a gig out of North Wales, where I'm from, felt like that moment, playing, I can remember it was playing at a club called Oddies in Oldham, and we were supporting a punk band called the Verucas with our own punk band. That felt like one of those moments. I then, managed to join a band called English Dogs and play round the country with them. That felt like it, and then I joined a band called Sacrilege. About 12 months later, we had a good label. We were on the same label as Metallica. That was another moment. Playing Coachella Festival in California with Morrissey. That was all those things, but it was amplified. But, when I played for the Damned, bearing in mind that's who I wanted to play, when I had that moment of, I'm going to be a drummer, it was that band, and it was, Rat Scabies, their drummer, that I had that moment with. When we were talking about the documentary, I'd given a bit of footage of a tour that I did with Steve Ignorant, the singer and frontman of Crass. We went round the world performing Crass songs. The setup of it was that we would go anywhere but just play once. We would do a tour, and that tour was not going to come about again, or we weren't going to find ourselves back in 6 months' time. It was just going to happen the once. The Last Supper. This one, They Always Are Living. It was the first song Crass, as in Steve Ignorant and drummer Penny Rimbaud, wrote together. Originally, it was just drums and vocals. It was interesting playing tour, but that drumming, because Penny Rimbaud had a very sort of certain style, it wasn't what I'd call typical, it certainly wasn't typical rock drumming, and it wasn't even typical punk drumming. It was more related to kind of a cross between sort of Boys Brigade snare drumming and jazz stroke rockabilly drumming. I've played reggae drumming for years now. When I was back in North Wales, I found some guys that were older than me, but we used to get great gigs in Bangor University because we're the only band playing reggae. Great bands were coming through like Misty and Roots and Black Roots and Bloodfire Posse. It was great because they were big gigs, they were, big for what I was used to. They were big university halls as opposed to small pokey clubs. Being to Jamaica, I've really absorbed myself in reggae over the years, so, and I still play it now. With my current band, Destroy DC, we do the flow in between thrashy punk. I first started teaching when I moved to Peterborough from North Wales. Because a friend was doing it as well, I just started with a couple of people, and I ended up taking it more seriously and, getting involved, having the Princess Trust, getting a loan, and just built it up slowly over the years. And then I've always kept it going, and in fact, now I've been doing it 25 years. So even when I've gone away on tour or been away for a long period of time, I've still had the tuition going. I've, either had somebody that, works for me or runs it for me. And it's always, gratifying and very satisfying when somebody takes it seriously enough to say want to continue as a career. Some have gone different ways over the years, like now it's much more commonplace to go to the musical institutes that are based around the country, like Brighton Institute, of course, Bristol. I think, if somebody had offered me, the chance to do something like that without any sort of real constraints of sort of finances or something like that, I would have loved to have done it. I mean, I would have loved it if, like, in my school, I, enjoyed the music lessons. Unfortunately, I didn't.